Healthy Kids Inc. was created from our desire to change, to bust through the status quo, and to prove that you can raise kids, have full-time jobs, and eat healthy. And I was determined that it was possible, but the odds were against us. We were climbing the corporate ladder, we were working longer hours and traveling, we were eating for convenience, which meant that our kids were too. If I was too tired to cook from the stress of the day, then we ate out. And it wasn't the kids' fault that I had a bad day, but yet I was feeding them some terrible food as a result of it. So they were sick all the time, and we were begging for energy. So we finally drew that line in the sand, and we said that things had to change. We were going to change our life, and we were going to help other parents who were struggling too. So from our desires to get healthy and get our kids eating healthy, we created a meal planner system, and it truly was a meal planner like no other. We wanted to be able to overcome every objection that parents had and that we had about healthy eating early on. And those objections were that healthy eating was too expensive, or my kids won't eat it, or I don't know how to cook, I don't know what to cook. We made sure to tackle every one of those, and we brought on a team to help us do that. So we first started with a dietitian, because truly that's half the battle, is knowing what to cook. Then we focused on how to prep and organize the meals each week, because that's the secret tip that helps busy families. Truly, if you want to pull off healthy meals on a crazy busy and hectic schedule, meal planning and prep has to happen. So we showed parents each and every week what to purchase, we gave them a shopping list, and then we went a little step further and actually came back and filmed how do you pull the entire week of recipes together. Because if you can organize and get your meals prepped and a lot of your chopping out of the way in advance, it's going to considerably cut down on your cooking time. Because at the end of a long day, nobody has an hour to spend in the kitchen. But if you can do some of the heavy lifting in advance, it's going to considerably cut down your cooking time each night, and it's going to make that dinner so much more realistic to pull off each night. So we do a video each and every week, about 5 minutes or so, showing how you can organize your meals for the week. And the third thing that we did is we actually pulled in a chef to show how to cook each and every recipe on our site. And that was a game changer. We actually brought a chef into our home for an entire year and filmed him making every single recipe. And he's an amazing chef. He's Chef Joe Crockett, and Chef Joe actually worked alongside Jamie Oliver for the very first food revolution. And it's such a great story because I had been following Joe. He had been featured in the newspaper quite a bit around that time, and I cut out some clippings of him because I knew that we wanted him on our team. So the very first time that Joe and I met, I actually pulled out the newspaper clippings and showed it to him and said, I've been following you, and I knew we were going to work together at some point. And he was very excited, very flattered, but I think a little bit starstruck that somebody else other than his mother had been keeping newspaper clippings of him. But it was great, and he became a great partner for us. And again, we brought him into our home for an entire year, filmed him making all these recipes, and that's the great thing about it. It's such a game changer. I mean, truly, that's what helps to build that confidence in the kitchen, because then you get to see all the little tips and tricks of how do you cook the meats, and how do you saute the vegetables, and how do you cut properly. I mean, it really helps so much, and our members have gained so much confidence in the kitchen as a result of it. We know that life is hectic, but dinner doesn't have to be. So today we dedicate our days to helping overworked moms find their inner chef and reclaim true rock star status in the kitchen, because that's truly what's happened to us, and it's an amazing feeling. We all want our kids to be healthy. We have this small 18-year window to nourish their bodies, and we owe it to our kids to give their bodies the best strong start that we can. And we know that it doesn't happen with fast food and processed foods and drinking soda and juices. We moms, we know that, but sometimes we just need a little bit of inspiration, and we need some tools to help us get from where we are to where we want to be. And that's what we focus our days on now, is helping those parents make that transition. So the road to healthy eating, it isn't perfect or easy. Sometimes dinner is a huge hit, and sometimes it's a disaster. One day our kids like oatmeal for breakfast, and the next they hate it, and it drives us crazy at times. And since we've devoted our business to sharing our experience on camera, well, that life isn't perfect either. We have had spilled food on camera, our kids have spit out food on camera, and I've created some not so good recipes on camera. But that's just a part of the adventure. Raising kids to be healthy eaters, it's become the single most important thing to our family. And one family at a time and one meal at a time, we're setting out to help other families get inspired and start their own healthy eating journey.